Hello everyone, my name is María Sierra. I am a professor from the School of Languages at Universidad de Antioquia. I hold a master's degree in secondary and continuing education and a PhD in curriculum and instruction from University of Wisconsin in Madison. Before starting this talk, I want to thank Professor Diana Pineda and Sandra Echeverri for inviting me to offer this talk to all of you who are preparing to become facilitators of professional development programs or teachers. Okay, my talk today is titled Teacher Learning Based on a Career Cycle. The literature on teacher learning shows that scholars present their different conceptualizations of teacher learning, that is to say, how teachers learn to do something new and change over time based on cognitive theories, sociocultural theories, critical theories, and other frameworks. Teacher learning based on a career cycle, one of the many conceptualizations of teachers' learning found in the literature for in-service teachers, is fundamental to understand in-service teachers' learning process. The importance I assign to it stems from my observations and experiences as a facilitator and researcher of professional development programs for teachers, and as such, I am convinced that it can guide other facilitators and researchers of professional development programs in their work and help them in conjunction with other conceptualizations of teacher learning to understand how teachers learn and what influences their learning. I next present a short summary of these conceptualizations and then move to a discussion of its importance to understand teacher learning. Besides, I present what I consider are the limitations of such conceptualization and why it requires to be implemented with the role that personal factors play in teachers' career development. Understanding teacher learning or change requires understanding not only the knowledge, skills, and beliefs teachers should develop, but also understanding the kind of people teachers are and what they go through at different stages in their careers. The literature on teachers' career cycle continuously makes reference to Haberman's 1989 framework, which focuses particularly on in-service teachers. The value of this conceptualization lies in the fact that teachers' change depends on how teachers perceive change at different stages in their careers and how much they want or desire to learn at different phases. Richardson and Plaisir, 2002, in the review of the literature about teacher change, when discussing studies related to teacher stages of development, point out that factors such as biography, experience, context, personality, and beliefs affect not only the progress from one stage to another, but also the acquisition of another stage. Haberman 1989 analyzes the professional life cycle of teachers using the perspective of career development that he believes is applicable to all professions. This career development has shown phases that can explain the career trajectory of teachers. These phases do not always manifest themselves in the same progression, and not all teachers experience them. Haberman states that the career perspective involves a psychological and a sociological perspective in its analysis, which allows us to follow someone's trajectory within an organization and understand how people's characteristics influence the social environment and also how people are influenced by it. He reviews the research on the life cycle of teachers and discusses the following stages. Survival and discovery are present at the beginning of a career. Survival has to do with the reality shock that inexperienced teachers face in which they experience the complexity of teaching. Discovery has to do with the enthusiasm that beginners teachers have about having their own students, classroom materials, and about feeling a colleague among teachers. Haberman observes that survival and discovery coexist and that the discovery helps inexperienced teachers to deal with the survival. Stabilization is the next phase, which corresponds to a definite commitment to the teaching profession and to an administrative position or tenure. This commitment means excluding other possibilities. Stabilization also means being affiliated to an occupational community and mastering teaching. It is believed that teachers have developed a basic teaching repertoire and feel good after having reached this stage. For the next phase of experimentation or activism, Habermas states that one or more of the following situations can occur. First, teachers consolidate a teaching repertoire, which leads to efforts to make a bigger impact, so they experiment with different things in the classroom. Next, teachers' desire to make a bigger impact in the classroom makes them become aware of the institutional limitations that impede that impact, so they make efforts to change the situation in the school or district. This activism may bring new responsibilities that can lead to career promotion. In addition, teachers do not want to be stale, so they can be ready for new challenges or stimulation. Taking a stock, self-doubt, is the next phase. Research does not clearly document to what extent experimentation leads to some kind of mid-career crisis. Habermas observes that the symptoms in this phase go from the superficial to the critical. Teachers have a growing feeling of monotony between the 12 and 20 years of teaching and have feelings of disenchantment after efforts to reform practice at the school or district level. In any case, teachers have a moment of self-doubt, and they also realize that other careers would not be an option for them if they do not act quickly. Serenity is the next phase, and means that when teachers lose energy and enthusiasm, these are compensated by a feeling of confidence and self-acceptance and what they do in class. However, research on teachers' career cycle does not support these findings strongly. For the phase of conservatism, Habermas notes that teachers are more prudent, more resistant to innovation, are nostalgic about the past, and are more concerned about holding on to what they have than getting what they want. This engagement has to do with a tendency towards increasing withdrawal and internalization by the end of the professional career. Teachers disengage gradually from their investment in their work and engage in other activities. This is a trend in older teachers when they have frustrated ambitions, when they feel a disengagement from policies and practices they don't agree with, and when they want calmer years before retirement. They may also feel the pressure from the environment to leave their place to younger teachers. In a discussion of the same framework of teachers' career cycle and a study he conducted in Switzerland, Habermas, 1995, notes that there were contextual factors that influenced teacher satisfaction and dissatisfaction, such as manageable working conditions, access to collegial expertise, external stimulations, and districts' appropriate mandates concerning programs. Based on this analysis, he suggests that the best scenario for satisfactory career development is through a craft model, since teachers can develop a repertoire of instructional strategies through trial and error. He also suggests that the shape of in-service training will need to be organized in ways in which teachers spontaneously tinker with their classrooms. He argues that it is necessary to work in 4 directions in order to reach all kinds of experienced teachers. 1. Provide teachers with colleagues or experts they can count on as they are experimenting in their classrooms. 2. Decentralize resources to generate and sustain networks of teachers, which means investing money on release time, materials, and consultants. 3. Promote collaborative work among teachers to experiment in their classrooms and gather data. And 4. Provide teachers with institutional conditions that foster collaborative work. According to Habermas, 1995, teachers have different aims and different dilemmas at various moments in their professional cycle, and their desire to reach out for more information, knowledge, expertise, and technical competence will vary accordingly, which is the reason why, looking at teacher career development, it's important to understand in-service teachers' learning and what they go through at different stages in their careers so that they are provided with better opportunities for learning. Moreover, Putnam and Borko, 1996, observed that depending on the expectations and concerns experienced teachers bring to the learning opportunities, they are more or less responsive to these opportunities. Moreover, studies about how teachers and their concerns develop and change over time indicate that they might be more responsive to calls for changing their teaching at specific phases in their career. One of the problems with Habermas's framework is that it does not consider the role that personal factors played in teachers' career development. Fessler, 1995, notes that personal factors such as family, individual dispositions or attitudes, life crises, and life stages influence teachers' learning or change during their career cycles. He argues that these aspects, whether alone or combined, can have an impact on teachers' career cycles, and at times they can become the main influence for job behavior and the career cycle. In terms of family, for instance, the various family roles that a woman teacher is expected to assume may impact her career cycle, as these add to the many activities of teaching. On the other hand, if she is able to share these responsibilities with a partner, it will facilitate her career development, as she might have more time to invest in her teaching. Another important aspect, which is also related to personal factors and may influence teachers' career development at any phase, is teachers' views about the world and specifically about education. Sykes, 1992, argues that teachers' ideologies, that is to say, their beliefs and values, the ideas they have about education, teaching, the process of schooling, and life in general, have an effect on the implementation of change. Sometimes teachers possess views of the world that do not match the purposes of education. These views translate into certain dispositions and attitudes that can interfere with their learning, as they may not be open to new teaching practices or to adopt roles that they are expected to perform as professionals who are committed to their work and who understand what is required from them and their practices. To conclude, teacher learning based on a career cycle depends on how teachers perceive change at different stages in their career and how much they desire to learn at different stages. Therefore, it is important that facilitators of professional development initiatives understand what teachers are going through at different points in their careers and are able to understand why teachers may or may not be open to new learning or willing to change their practices. This is important in order to know how to tackle the situations that may arise with teachers within their professional development and provide them with better opportunities for learning. Simply judging teachers, arguing that they do not care or are not committed to their work is unfair. At the same time, it is important to pay attention to the personal factors that may influence or impede teachers' learning. Therefore, considering the teacher as a person is also important in teachers' learning processes.